Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for all purchase, pricing, and availability questions you have concerning this watch. Today we're discussing the first generation of Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph, a model launched in 1999 and made through 2003. It's smaller than the subsequent watch, though it has the same movement quality, and I might even opine better bracelet construction. This watch is a smaller overseas chrono that wears better on smaller wrists, including mine. So at 40 millimeters, the watch is only 12.6 millimeters thick. And if we measure end link to end link, the total distance across the wrist is still manageable, 51.7 millimeters. In stainless steel, it's weighty. It's got a real presence to it. Eyes closed, you know you're wearing something special. A reassuring solidity befitting the reputation of the manufacturer on the dial. Now you can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist how much this fits, almost like the automatic version of the second generation Overseas. The Overseas Chrono started getting big with the second generation, whereas here it wears nice and compact, comparable to something like a Rolex Daytona on a bracelet. Now it's also pretty flat flush with a sloped bezel, a cupped caseback, and a thin profile. It slides easily under a cuff, though make no mistake, this is a sports watch. I can envision this working well on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Now the bracelet, I said nice things about it, and I mean them all. It's probably too intricate and intricately finished for its own good. I imagine it cost a fortune to make. But then again, that's the kind of watch you want to own. You could see that there are these two channels that run down the center that have faceting and polish and add a different plane to the actual bracelet. It's actually got an upper and lower plane. Then on the edge, we've got this rolled bevel that continues the bevel of the lugs down the shoulders of the links. The edges of the links are black polished, mirror finished, and the same treatment is lavished, laboriously on the inside of the bracelet. Look at that mirror finish on the inside of the bracelet. Of course, we have removable links and they're fixed by screws. And you can see we have quite a few of them for fine-tuning the fit. Now, this is where it sets itself apart from most of the standard first-generation Overseas. This is a significantly upgraded clasp. And so instead of having the fiddly combination of one trigger and a sliding lock, here we have a much more robust system with thick-gauge steel and twin triggers. And you could see that it features these little triggers that have the profile of the Maltese Cross logo of the company, which is a nice little detail. You can also see externally, I want to be clear about this, that there is one intermediate size link in the bracelet in case you find yourself in between sizes. Fully integrated, the Overseas is inspired by the 1977 Vacheron Constantin 222 sports watch designed by Jörg Heisek. The Overseas line was created in 1996 to get Vacheron back in the sports watch business, and the design was created by Dino Modolo and Vincent Kaufmann. Modolo, a well-known freelance designer in Swiss watchmaking, and Kaufmann, later the design director of Vacheron, and they channeled the 222, but this watch is still very much its own beast. You can see that the bracelet fixed to case using screws and bars, no expense spared. That's the best way to assure security. The bezel features a lot of detail as it has a vertically satin finished set of interior recesses, and then the rest is polished. It sits on case top and lug hoods that are brushed with a mirror finished flank, and you can see that the bezel, again the Maltese Cross logo, that's been sectioned out and extrapolated over a recurring bezel motif. We've got the logo on the crown again. We've got the crown as well as the chronograph shoulders, slightly shielded, these little stub crown guards, a unique feature of the first generation chrono. And then with all three of these being screw down and the caseback being solidly affixed, this is a 150 meter water resistant watch, quite a bit more than competing options from Audemars Piguet, where the Royal Oak Chrono is 50, and even the Nautilus Chrono was 120. This is above and beyond. You can see the case back again with that Maltese Cross motif. We have polishing, chiseling, radial satination, and then circular satination. The ship is based on the Italian naval training vessel, Amerigo Vespucci, said to be one of the most beautiful square-rigged ships in the world, and I've seen it, and I believe that. On the dial side here, we get the much-sought military dial, all Arabic numerals, though you can see there are little faceted white gold pyramid-style indices outboard of the numerals. We'll do a quick loom shot so you can see how generously this watch is loomed. You can also see that the much-loved double-digit date from the first and second generation chrono here is present with silver discs, and we have 3 sub-registers with polished chapterings. Note that on the original version of the chrono, the minutes register was symmetrical with the hours. It didn't have the big eye design that was adopted later on. Same movement between the two of them, Vacheron caliber 1137. It's a Frédéric Piguet 1185, which is a thin, fine, 5-position adjusted, hand-finished, essentially Blancpain movement with vertical clutch, column wheel, unidirectional winding, and 40-hour power reserve. It does feature a quick-set system for the date, though it does not have hacking. That was never a feature of the Frédéric Piguet 1180. The 1185 is the automatic version of the 1180. So it has unidirectional winding, the 40-hour reserve, and a 3 Hz beat rate. Now, I mentioned vertical clutch and column wheel, and by that I mean you have crisp and positive column wheel action. That's the function selector. The best chronographs and the most traditional chronographs use column wheels. Now, there's also a vertical clutch, which means when I engage the chrono, there's no jump or stagger. See how it just starts? It doesn't leap forward and then start ticking. A lateral clutch would leap forward. With a vertical clutch, you don't have that problem. And with a vertical clutch, you can just leave the chrono running full-time if you like that aesthetic. And with a vertical clutch, there is no additional wear and tear on the movement, so a vertical clutch chrono gives you that flexibility. Now, the dial base is beautiful and immaculate, and you can see these hands for the hours and minutes feature a lovely matte finish for a subdued tone. You can also see that the FP chronograph system, we're about to get to the jump of the minute, which we'll do shortly. It has semi-instantaneous jumping minutes, which is a nice refinement to have. And again, this is a high horology chronograph movement and a high horology watch. The same movement used on Blancpain, Breguet, Vacheron, and Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronographs. A wonderful watch, high horology heart, and Vacheron on the outside. A beautifully hand-finished watch that shows what's possible when skilled hands take metal in their grip. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.